Hey friend, welcome to your daily 5-minute Bible teaching from Back to the Bible. This is Pastor Nat Crawford. Today we're going to talk about resisting the urge to go back to your old ways. Cabbage water. That's what Charlie Bucket ate most nights in his small shack. Who's Charlie Bucket? Well, you probably know him from the movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Now, if you've seen the movie or read the book, you know at the end he is awarded the opportunity to inherit the Wonka business and all the perks that come with it. But what would you have thought if Charlie would have said, "No thanks, Mr. Wonka, my family and I are doing just fine. Cabbage water is the way to live"? You would probably think, that kid is nuts. Why on earth would Charlie want to go back to a life like that? Well, Paul had a similar message for us today in Galatians 4. But when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those who were under the law, so that we might receive adoption as sons. And because you are sons, God has sent the Spirit of his Son into our hearts, crying, "Abba, Father." So you are no longer a slave, but a son. And if a son, then an heir through God. God is no Willy Wonka, that is for sure. But we can be a lot like that fictional Charlie Bucket. Paul tells the Galatian churches, when the time was just right, God sent his Son Jesus so that we might become God's children. God had ordained the moment Christ would come so the people and the culture would be ready for a life-changing and soul-saving movement to happen. But this was only possible because it involved both God and man. That's why Paul says, born of a woman under the law. You see, Jesus was fully God and fully man. God was the only one capable of successfully living under the law. Well, what's the result? Redemption for the unredeemed, salvation for the unsaved, and hope for the hopeless. When we become adopted sons and daughters of the King, it's not by name, it's reality. We become recipients of God's grace. We become God's heirs of the fortune. That's why Paul reminds the Galatian churches and us today that we are no longer slaves. We are no longer children living underneath the restrictions of childhood. Instead, we are children of the King, and so we need to live like it. But this isn't our tendency. That's why the drug addict returns to the drugs after completing rehab. That's why the alcoholic returns to the bar after hitting 90 days of being sober. That's why the porn addict hides in the closet after quitting 100 times before. Though we are free, we have to choose to live like it. Today, where are you returning to slavery? Today, where are you living like a homeless person instead of living like a prince or a princess? Where are you running from God and running to your sinfulness? We've all got an area. I do, and you do too. But God says lovingly, no more. You are free. Live as free. Today, I challenge you, surrender your guilt and your struggle to God. God's grace is sufficient for you. Cry out for his help. Cry out for his solutions and begin to move away from any struggle. And by God's grace, you can and you will.